Welcome to Pigskin Picks. It's week 3 of the NFL. Your boy Breezy and Mose Knowles are back to give you our picks for week 3. Before we do that, we got to recap how we did on week 2. And there's our record. I'm currently losing the bet. Mose is whipping my tail as of now. So we'll see what happens. Mose, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, bro. I can't complain. Good first 2 weeks, and I'm ready for week 3.
All right, week 3, here we go. We're going to start it off with Thursday night football modes. It's the Giants at the 49ers. And I got to get my little helmets ready for my little prop. Who you going with, bro?
Yeah, this one's easy. I know I'm a fan, and it sounds a very homerish pick, but I think the 49ers are playing too well right now. The Giants were able to get a comeback win against the Cardinals, but they struggled in the first half. They have no Saquon Barkley. I think they'll also be down starting left tackle Andrew Thomas on a short week. Yeah, I'm going with the Niners here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Niners here too. Not sure what the status of Saquon Barkley is going to be. He did get injured. And even if Saquon Barkley wasn't injured, I do feel like the San Francisco 49ers are going to, I don't want to say have a bounce back week on defense, but I think their defense is there to stop the run, protect the 49ers offense, and do some things. So I'm going with the Niners here in this game very easily. Thursday night football. Short week. Hoping Brandon Ayuk plays. We'll find out. Let's go Titans Browns.
This one is tough, man, because the Titans play well against the Chargers. I think you picked them last week. I picked the Chargers, so that was one of my losses. I also picked the Browns to beat the Steelers, and they did not look good at all. And then with the unfortunate injury to Nick Chubb, uh, I don't see a path forward for the Browns. They're one of those teams to me that they're going to be middle of the pack. They're going to be up and down all season. The Titans are one of those teams that kind of string some wins together early. I think the win that they got against the Chargers in overtime is one of those that can propel them forward. So I think the Browns need to find their identity without Nick Chubb. So I think this is a game for the Titans to capitalize on. So I'm going Tennessee here.
Yeah, I'm going with Tennessee here too. Look, man, Derrick Henry, King Henry looked good last week. I think they figured out that they just need to give him the damn ball. You give him the ball, good things happen. I'm going with the Titans here. When it comes to the Browns, man, their quarterback doesn't look good. And I know the injury to Nick Chubb is definitely a tragic one that happened. Our prayers are going up for Nick Chubb out there. But Deshaun Watson just doesn't look good. Like, he doesn't look like how he was when he was in Houston before all the stuff happened. So I'm not sure if he'll ever get back to being Deshaun Watson. It's a new football, it's a different type of football. And maybe it's the end of an era there. But if he could just be a good game manager at this point and hopefully find a way to get the ball to some of his Cooper and those guys. And Jerome Ford is gonna have a lot on his plate. But I'm going with the Titans here in this one as well. Let's go to the next matchup. You got the 2-0 Falcons headed into Detroit City to face those Lions that got beaten overtime by the Seahawks.
Yeah, man, the Falcons are one of the surprise teams early in the season, starting off 2-0. They were able to get a comeback win versus the Packers. I think you know this as well as I do, being in that stadium. The Falcons play really, really well at home. I think the test for them is going to be how they play on the road. I think the Lions played well enough to beat the Seahawks. They just lost in overtime, so I think they want to bounce back at home again. So I think the Lions redeemed themselves from last week, and they get a win over the Falcons.
I like that. The Lions, for some reason, they're still struggling to kind of like find their identity when it comes to running the football. I felt like it was David Montgomery, David Montgomery, David Montgomery, David Montgomery. They have a premier running back in Jameer Gibbs. For some reason, they won't utilize him. I know they may have to utilize him now with the injury to David Montgomery. But listen, man, it's Bijan versus Gibbs. It's Ritter versus Jared Goff. Goff should be the better quarterback in this game, but it's something about those dirty birds, man. I think the Falcons go into Detroit and they snag themselves a win, man. Uh
Okay.
Listen, Bijan, did you see the way he was cutting on the football field, bro?
Yo, he's an animal.
Joystick, human
He's
joystick.
crazy. He's
Wow.
crazy.
Wow.
Not
Oh
mad at
my
that.
gosh. The 2-0 Saints headed to
Right.
Green Bay. The 2-0 Saints. Derek Carr doesn't look that good, but for some reason, they're finding ways to win.
Yeah, they're finding ways to win. I don't think they find a way to win this week. I think the Packers at home again. They want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. They were pretty much in control of that Falcons game until that fourth quarter momentum swing. The Saints offense, even against a Panthers team, struggled a little bit. They were able to, get the win against a younger team, but I think this Packers defense is going to show up at home and cause some issues for a team that's faster on turf than they are on a grass field. So I'm going with the Packers here.
I like that. I'm going with the Packers as well, man. I feel like it's going to be an easy win for them. No slouch to the 2-0 Saints, but for some reason, that Packers secondary is going to be waiting for Chris Olave and them dudes to come in, and they may get Christian Watson back. Jaden Reed had a good game. I just like the Packers. Jordan Love is playing like he's been a professional for the past 10 years. And so, look, I think the Packers are the team to lose. They're going to go out there and hold down the frozen tundra. All right, we got the Denver Broncos headed into red hot Miami. So let that speak for itself. 0-2 Broncos. Will they get their first win on the road? Russell Wilson looked decent. He looked good. He put up some good numbers, had a turnover, but they couldn't win the game. What are your thoughts on this one, bro?
Yeah, I'm going Dolphins. I don't see how the Broncos, if the Broncos lose to the Commanders at home, I don't see how they go on the road and find a way to stop Tyreek Hill. We'll have to see if Jalen Waddle plays. I think he is in concussion protocol, so that
Correct.
may bring the offense down a little bit. But you still got to stop Tyreek Hill. And Raheem Mostert is running really, really well over there as well. We're familiar with him. And that defense is playing good. So I got the Dolphins winning. Broncos fall to 0-3.
Same here. I got the Dolphins in this game as well. You got the 0-2, the battle of the 0-2 teams, the Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers headed into Minnesota to face another 0-2 team. Kirk Cousins in the last game probably had the game of his life. Like he was balling, and unfortunately they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't sneak out a victory there. The Chargers just don't look that good to me. What do you got?
It's crazy. So far, the Chargers have scored 58 points. They've committed 0 turnovers on offense, and they're still 0-2. On the other hand, you have a Vikings team who last year was 13-4. 11 of those 13 wins were by one score or less. So far this year, they are 0-2 in those same type of games. I think the difference this year is the Vikings have no running game.
Yeah, the
I
Dalvin
think
Cook
if Dalvin
is
Cook was on this team, it would be different. They may not be 2-0, but they could be 1-1 and possibly could be 2-0. They possibly are able to beat the Eagles, being able to run the ball with Kurt passing the ball so efficiently. Um, it's hard to see both of these teams starting 0-3. And one of them, unfortunately, is going to have to do that. I keep picking them every week, and I'm hoping one of these weeks I'm right. I have a feeling that the Chargers don't fall to 0-3. So against my better judgment, because they failed me the first 2 weeks, I'm gonna go Chargers again and hope that the third time is the charm.
I think I'm gonna go against you on this one. I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Vikings, them being the home team. I will say the Chargers game will depend on the health of Austin Eckler. I mean, if he's a full go, that's the difference maker, right? You just talked about the running game. I don't know. The Vikings got to figure out how to get Alexander Madison into the game. They got to give him the ball. They got to trust that he can run with the ball. He had zero problems spelling Dalvin Cook. Like he was, matter of fact, if you remember, he would get big gains. So they got to get back to that. But I'm gonna go with Minnesota at home in this game. I feel like it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be another nail biter for an 0-2 team, 2 0-2 teams. But it is what it is. I got the Vikings edging the Chargers. Let's go to the next joint. We got 0-2 Patriots going to New York to play the 1-1 Jets. The Jets got pummeled by the Cowboys. The Patriots seem to be in both games. Like they've been in both games. They were in the games with the Eagles. They were in the game with the Dolphins. Unfortunate turnovers happened early, and they couldn't overcome the turnovers. The Patriots defense is a little suspect in their secondary. I believe Garrett Wilson is in the concussion protocol as well. Like he had an injury or something, I believe. Who you got in this game, bro? Because this is the AFC East.
I have a hard time thinking and believing that Zach Wilson is going to be able to beat a Bill Belichick defense. I just, with the way that, they played against the Dolphins, and with the way that we saw Jalen Hurts struggle in week 1, if the Jets win this game, it's going to have to be solely based on the defense's hands. And if Brees Hall can carry the ball 32 times, I just don't see that happening. I think it's a close game, but I think the Patriots find a way to get their first win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots here. I mean, they've been in both games, and for some reason, I think Bill Belichick's gonna have thine own way with a Zach Wilson. You know, if it was an Aaron Rodgers, it'd be a different conversation. But because it's Zach Wilson, and because it's Bill Belichick, he's going to try to tee off like that kid is a rookie. And so I just don't see, as good as the Jets defense is, they'll probably keep the game close, but I think the Patriots find a way to edge out the New York Football Jets on the road. You got another AFC team traveling, bro, to Washington to face the red hot 2-0 Commanders. The Bills versus Commanders. This is a no-brainer for me. I don't care if the team is 2-0. I'm going with Bills before you say Bills, but I want to know who you going to go with in this game.
I'm right with you again. No brainer. I think
They put up
The
38
Bills
points, dog.
corrected what they needed to correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They made the ship. They got the shit back on track. And while the Commanders are playing well, I don't think they have enough. I'm going Bills here also.
Let's go to the AFC South. You got the Texans and the Jaguars. The Jaguars' defense is legit. Their offense struggled last week. They couldn't score a touchdown. The Texans look like a team with a rookie quarterback, but they look good at moments. It's a divisional game. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I agree. The Texans look good in spots. But one of the things you talk about, the Jaguars defense is legit. And the Texans have so far given up the second most sacks in the NFL. CJ Stroud has been sacked 10 times.
10 times.
So I think the Jaguars are going to get after it. And I think that offense is going to, correct some things. And this time, punch the ball into the end zone. So I got the Jags at home.
I got the Jags at home. We got the Colts going to the 2-0 Ravens. They're going to Baltimore, bro. Baltimore is a weird looking team to me. Like they don't look dominant, but they're finding ways to win. Lamar Jackson looked a little bit better. They're struggling with the run game. They got to go with the dual back and Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. OBJ, I think, is injured. And the Colts look pretty good in their last game. Their defense is crazy. So let's talk about this. Who do you got winning this game? Colts on the road or Ravens at home?
I have the Ravens at home. I think, the Colts are still a young team, a rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback who's also, again, Anthony Richardson is also in the concussion protocol. So we'll have to see if he's going to be ready this week. Even with the injuries that the Ravens have, I think they're just too seasoned, too veteran of a team. I think the Colts defense is going to come in and play really, really well. This might be a defensive matchup, but I think Lamar, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, I think those guys on the offensive side for the Ravens find a way to do a little bit more and get the job done. So I got Baltimore in this one.
Same here, bro. Baltimore in this one. Let's go with the Panthers at the Seahawks. I want the Panthers to win, but I don't think that they're going to win. Again, rookie quarterback and Bryce Young. Um, Miles Sanders look good, but I just don't. The Seahawks redeemed themselves with that overtime win, and maybe they're getting back on track. Who are you going with in this game? Seahawks at home.
Yeah. I think the Seahawks underestimated the Rams in week one, and that's why they got beat. They did some good things in that game, just the Rams outplayed them. I think they got back on track against the Lions. Now I think they come back home against a rookie quarterback and a young team, a team that's also going to be missing their defensive leader in Shaq Thompson. I think the Seahawks get this win pretty easily.
There it is, Seahawks. We got the Bears headed to Kansas City. Is this an easy one for us?
Yes, sir. Chiefs all the way.
Yeah.
I,
I
I,
the
I
Chiefs
they,
don't look good though. What is that?
uh, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if it's injuries. I mean, obviously, you can look at the skill position players and say, okay, Travis Kelsey may not be 100%. Um,
Okay.
on the outside, Mahomes doesn't have anybody that you would peg as a go-to number one, true number
Okay.
one wide receiver. And I like Isaiah Pacheco, but they don't have a dominant running game.
Yeah.
So squarely, that offense is on the backs of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. As those two go, so does the offense. And then defensively, you get Chris Jones back. He's kind of got to work himself up into football shape. Kind of the same thing that folks have been talking about with Nick Bosa. But other
I
than
think he had
that,
a couple of sacks in that game.
I mean, they have players at every level. Maybe it's just early season. Maybe this is the year that we talk about it all the time how the 49ers start slow. Maybe this is the year that the Chiefs start slow. And
Respect.
some teams are able to take advantage of them early. And then they kind of find their groove and they rip off 6, 7, 8 in a row. And I think they'll get it figured out. But against this Bears team, um, who I don't think Justin Fields is the problem. While he's not a perfect quarterback, there's definitely things that he can work on in his game. The past game that I watched against the Buccaneers, there were certain times in the game where he was just holding on the ball for too long. Either run and scramble and get some yards, or escape the pocket, throw it out of bounds, and just live for the next play. He kind of held the ball too long and took some unnecessary sacks. But I don't think that the coaching staff is in place for the Bears, for Justin Fields to be successful. And I think if they have another down year, I think Matt Eberflus is on his way out, and they're going to look for an offensive mind to bring in to be able to groom Justin Fields the right way. All that being said, I don't think the Bears have enough to beat the Chiefs at home. They're not going to let what happened to them against the Lions happen again.
I agree with you. All right, Cowboys at the Cardinals. Now the Cardinals, they play hard. They just haven't won a game. Now, I don't know if that's by design, but the Cowboys are traveling to Arizona, 2-0 Cowboys. Who you got in this one?
Cowboys. This is easy. I think what doesn't help the Cardinals is the fact that they played the Giants the week before.
Yeah.
They were up 20-0 and allowed the
Yeah.
Giants to come back. I think the Cowboys are going to go in and just to spite the Giants say this is how you should have played and beat this team. I don't think the Cardinals have a chance.
I agree with you. I'm going with the Cowboys there. Sunday night football, Steelers at the Raiders. When I tell you the Steelers defense looked good against the Cleveland Browns, there was like a totally different team. Divisional game. Now they're going to travel out west to Vegas to face the Raiders, who just didn't look good. I don't know if they can get anything going with Josh Jacobs, but for some reason, him not being in camp is really hindering what Josh McDaniel probably is trying to do with that Raiders offense. Jimmy Garoppolo looked like, you know, Jimmy, um, but the Steelers look good. George Pickens look good. Who you got going in this game?
I have the Raiders at home. Steelers are dealing with some injuries. I know Minka Fitzpatrick. He had to, go to the hospital and get some tests. The test came back, but he's not going to be 100%. And although they did beat the Browns didn't look good on Monday night, but neither did the Steelers. They had the big play to George Pickens, but offensively, they didn't look sharp. They didn't look crisp at all. We know the Raiders looked decent week one. Obviously, the Bills were on a mission because of how their game ended week one. So I feel like at home, Josh McDaniels is going to find a way to get the right guys involved. Even with the injury to Devontae Adams, I feel like the Steelers find a way to pull. I mean, not the Steelers, my bad. The Raiders find a way to pull this one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go opposite with you in here. I think the Steelers will travel well, and I think they have enough to beat this Raiders team. I do expect Devontae Adams to clear the concussion protocol and play in this game. It's a Sunday night game, so it's a little extra time that he'll get. I still think he'll get off and do his thing, but I think it's gonna be a close game, and I think the Steelers find a way to edge the Raiders on the road, and the Raiders would be exactly who we thought the Raiders would be. So I'm going with the Steelers in this one. All right, I'm going with the Steel City. Let's go Philadelphia Monday Night Football doubleheader. Philly 2-0 teams. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I got the Eagles as well. I do think this game is going to be closer
Yes.
than anticipated. The Bucks are playing really, really good football, and we have to give Baker his props. He is the reason why they're playing good football. He is the engine behind why this team is looking and playing as well as they are. So I think this could be a very, very good game on Monday night. I think the Eagles have had two close calls, through weeks one and two. And I think they want to dominate this game a little bit more than they have the first two. So I'm going Philly here, even though they're on the road. I think they're just the superior team, and they're going to find a way to get it done.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good defensive game. A good defensive game. Can Jalen Hurts finally start to get into some type of a rhythm and look like the Hurts that we've seen before? Baker Mayfield is clearly hot as a quarterback right now. They're running the ball well, but their defense is ridiculous. But for some reason, I feel like the luck goes with the Philly Green, and I feel like they find a way to pull away and edge over the red hot Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And our last Monday night game, we got the Rams that just took a beating in a close game with the 49ers. They're going to the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals. Who you got winning this game? I'll put mine up before you say who you got winning, but I'm gonna go with this team right here winning.
Wow.
Yeah, the
He's got the
Bengals just
Rams winning on Monday night on the road. Um, I think it's going to depend on the health of Joe Burrow and if he does play, if he's able to finish the game. If Burrow doesn't play, um, then I would say I would lean towards the Rams. But again, this is another football team that prides itself on playing good football. This is a team that has aspirations of getting back to the playoffs, that has aspirations of getting back to the AFC Championship game, and ultimately has aspirations of getting back to the Super Bowl. I believe that they believe they have the team to do it. So I just find it so hard to believe that this team, especially at home, will end week three without a win. So I got to go Bengals here because I can't see them dropping to 0-3.
yeah, everything in me wanted to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, but Joe Burrow's taking a little bit longer to tune up, and the offense is just not ready yet. Like it's just not able to flow. And I'm sorry if you're gonna deal with. We watched Matthew Stafford like dice up, dissect the defense with quick, concise throws. They don't have the same secondary they had last year with Jesse Bates now being in Atlanta. I just don't feel like the Bengals will be able to tune up, right? So if the Rams keep the ball and you got this red hot bowling ball of Kyron Williams now being a running back, and they find a way to hold on to the ball and get points, like it's gonna be tough for the Cincinnati Bengals to tune up and come back and try to make a win. So because they take too long. Now, that doesn't mean they won't have a successful season. Just right now, they just going through some growing pains. I just feel like they're going to be an 0-3 team. One of the 9-0-3. They're going to be one of the 9-0-2 teams that fall to 0-3, in my opinion. It's crazy. So I got the
That's gonna be
Chargers
crazy if that
and the
happens.
Bengals losing, bro. Ew,
You do.
I'm gonna get
I think the only difference is you got Chargers. No, you got Vikings.
yes at home
You got Rams.
on the
You got
road.
Steelers. And then you have Atlanta. You picked Atlanta over Detroit.
I did. They're
So
hot.
those are our 4 differences. Because I
Yeah,
have
you'll
Lions,
probably win.
Chargers, Bengals, and Raiders. So we'll see. You could close the gap, bro.
This
We
is gonna
got
be
4
fun.
differences. You could close the gap.
This is gonna be fun, yo. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, we
Ladies and
got to
gentlemen,
see
thank
how
y'all
this
so
is
much
going
for
to turn
tuning
out.
in. I know to Pigskin Picks. Listen, Mose is amazing and he knows what he's talking about, but I'm trying. I'm trying to take him down and I'm trying to catch up. So hopefully my picks pan out. We'll see you guys next week, man. Y'all stay up. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Peace.